we're staying in the U.S. and we're still focusing on the verdict on Derek Chauvin over the George Floyd trial, the death of George Floyd. And we're joined now by community activist Mustafa Abdusalam. He joins us from Washington, D.C. via Skype. Mustafa, good to have you join us. Earlier on, we were looking at that reaction, very emotional reaction from George Floyd's family. It does show you that no one really expected that he will be found, that's Derek Chauvin, will be found guilty on all charges, given the experience with the justice system. What was your reaction?
Well, I was like everybody else. I was hoping that the outcome would be what it was, but knowing the history of this country, you can't be sure. I mean, there's so many incidents of black people being killed by policemen that doesn't get recorded, doesn't have the same type of exposure, so that you never know. And the history has been that there's very rarely police being accountable for their actions. So this was very important, but it's just the beginning. This doesn't take away from the fact that as we speak, black people are still dying at the hands of police. And until we change the system, we're going to continue to see black people being killed by police in this country.
He has not been sentenced. He will be sentenced sometimes in 8 weeks. But his sentencing right now seems that as about 12 to 15 years, according to lawyers. When you look at, but prosecutors are now looking at using the aggravating factor to get higher sentencing. What does that mean in terms of ensuring accountability in the policing system?
Well, we want to make sure that he is held to the highest accountability. He's a policeman. He has a lot of power. The fact that they can deal with life and death, they have to be responsible for their actions. So we want the maximum sentence to give a sign to other policemen that they need to take their actions seriously when they deal with African Americans.
All through celebrations yesterday in the U.S., we also heard from community activists like yourself saying that this is an opportunity for change. How does this lead to change?
Well, I mean, I think the reality was on display right now is the white supremacy that's been existing in this country for over 400 years. At the core of what we see with the violence towards blacks, both physical and economical, is white supremacy. And until we address that, we're always going to see those symptoms occur. So we need to be honest intellectually in discussing the role that racism plays and all of the oppression that happens with black people and brown people in this country. And I think we're at a place in time in the history of this country that we should begin that discussion.
Whilst speaking to George Floyd's family after the verdict was read, President Joe Biden did say that this calls for reforms, and he said we are going to get this done. What does it take to get this done?
Well, politically, it takes both the Congress and the Senate taking leadership. We have to move away from the kind of partisan politics that's being involved right now, because the issues at stake is really the survival of this country. So whether you're Republican or Democrat, it really is looking at the best interests of this country that allows the country to move forward and allow this country to live up to the principles that it established when it was created, that all men are created equal. And so this is the starting point. We want to hold the United States accountable for its role.
Talking about accountability, 3 other officers have been charged with aiding and abetting. They have the trial hasn't started. What do you expect to see in terms of ensuring accountability and justice?
Well, the bar has been set by this first verdict. Even though they played a lesser role, they need to be held accountable also. The fact that they allowed the situation to occur without challenging it makes them also guilty also. So we want to see them dealt with in a way that gives everybody on the police departments a clear sign that you just can't sit back, that you either are fighting against these kind of situations or you're part of the problem.
We'll see how things continue to play out. Community activist Mustafa Abdulsalam, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.